Welcome to the You Can't Afford Me podcast, where we skip the fluff and dive straight into the grind. Real entrepreneurs, real struggles, and the unfiltered journey behind success. Let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for joining us on another episode of the You Can't Afford Me podcast. So we're doing something a little bit different today. So I have a power couple in the studio today. They're looking at each other like, what are you talking about? I'm telling you. One day you guys will see this couple on a magazine or something. I'm telling you, they're doing all the right things. They're going fast. They're going hard. They're actually one of my clients for coaching right now as well too. So I thought it'd be a good idea. Come on here, chat it up with them, talk about how the coaching sessions have gone, their businesses, how they've been able to scale at the pace that they have. So today we have in the studio ShaCoria and Justin. How you guys doing today?
Doing well. Good, glad to be here.
Awesome. So if you can guys real quick, give us a quick 30 seconds, 60 seconds on who you are, what you do.
Yeah, so for me, my name is Justin Shelton. I am a real estate agent full-time. I just quit my job in January, so I'm brand new into this world, but it's good. Serial entrepreneur, multiple businesses from Airbnbs to my wife travel agency, pretty much anything that's travel or real estate, we're the ones to talk to.
Y'all got it covered.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to rewind. I want people to get a sense of this full journey. So ShaCoria, let's start with you. So now you own a travel agency business. When I first met you, you also had a virtual assistant business.
Right.
You're still currently working full time.
Yep.
So talk to us about, number one, how did you come up with the idea for the virtual assistant business?
Yeah, so I haven't had the privilege of firing my boss yet. So,
it's coming, believe me.
No, but I fired my boss before, right? And I was like, I got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time, I was trying to figure out, okay, what am I good at? And one of the things is just organizing and getting people in places for their businesses, doing the tasks that they don't want to do.
Yep.
So I was like, I could be a virtual assistant, whatever that is, right? Because I would hear stuff, and I was like, I could be a virtual assistant. So got a couple clients doing that, and it was good. It sustained me during the time that I was home with our youngest child. No, I don't know. It might have been our youngest. It was either our youngest or our oldest.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember, but stayed home with him. Had some virtual assistant clients, and I loved it. But it felt like it was still a day's worth of work.
Yeah.
Because they were on 24/7, and I was their support. Like, I was their right hand, so I was their support doing that. But really, it was just, I kind of fell into it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I always had that skill. Administration, like, is a skill of mine.
Yes,
so I just went through with it.
Nice. So the idea of still working full time and starting this on the side, and I know since you've let that go, why did you decide to push that business aside? Because I think that's a key point for a lot of people to understand. Like, a lot of people will start a business and think they have to die on that hill.
Yeah.
It's okay to try stuff. And I learned something from this business. It didn't quite work out the way I want. I'm going to put this to the side. So why did you decide to put that business aside?
Yeah. So because I haven't fired my boss, and because I am still working full time, being a virtual assistant really took a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things during our coaching relationship, we talked about it a lot. What do I have time for? And is it something that doesn't make sense? And the answer was kind of no.
Mm-hmm.
So I laid it to the side. I mean, I still operate in that function, just in other capacities, like at church and things of that sort.
Yep.
But as far as it being a business where I'm like out recruiting clients and out, meeting people to be their virtual assistant and having clients that I'm their virtual assistant, I'm not doing that. And it was like a breath of fresh air kind of, because I was just racking my brain around like, okay, how am I even going to get more clients to get to the point that I want to be at?
Yeah, it can be a lot. I want to come back to the travel agency. Justin, with you, so you just recently quit your full-time job in January.
Mm-hmm.
What was the full-time job? What type of work were you doing?
I was the manager of member services at the Richmond Association of Realtors. So
Gotcha.
I started there. In my first year, I was at front desk, what was it, member services specialist? Yeah. And then in a year, I got promoted to being a manager. So I was manager for 3 years, specialist for 1 year.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then why did you decide that, because you didn't go into, you're going into residential. So were you doing some commercial at one point?
It's a mix of both. Like I got one commercial deal that I'm working on right now, and then one residential that I have. So I got one commercial deal and one residential under contract now. But mainly, majority of my clients at the moment are residential buyers.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the moment you decided that you were going to quit your job. And the two things I love, well, the main thing I love about you guys is that how you guys collectively work as a team. Mm-hmm. Like every time I have a conversation with you guys, it's like you can tell that this is a true partnership that you guys are working through. So when you made the decision to walk away from that job, it was evident that you guys had discussed that in great detail, deciding what would be best for your family.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that, because it was a very interesting exit in terms of there was another opportunity for you once you put in your resignation. So talk us through that.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I discuss everything with my wife when it comes to what's going to impact both of us and our kids.
Everything.
And everything. And I just told her one day, like, I want to get my license. But that was like, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And I just kept procrastinating. The job was going to pay for me to get my license, but I couldn't activate it or I would have to leave. And so, my wife was just like, every time I got frustrated at work, you need to get your license. You need to get your license. So, eventually I ended up meeting the team lead he's the CEO of the team that I work for, Proximity Realty, brokered by EXP. And just that one conversation with him literally just like sparked something in me. And I ended up using my own resources to take the class to get my license.
So why did you choose to do that instead of letting the company pay for it?
Because the company wasn't going to let me do it in person.
No, tell them what really happened.
Give us the tea, man. Give us the tea.
You started out virtual.
I did start out virtual, but it just wasn't hitting on nothing.
He wasn't doing it.
I was doing it. I got to like 50% because it's just a lot of reading. It was just, it's not for me. I'm not.
The way you learn, you need someone in person.
I need somebody in front of me. Yeah. That's or audio, but I don't want to be reading the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. But yeah, so you funny. So yes, I ended up deciding to use my own resources to go in person. And I knocked that class out in 5 days. And so after that, you got to take the test. Took the test in November, didn't pass, failed about 1 point. And
which most realtors don't pass it on the first
time. And which is fine. I didn't let that rattle me, and I took it again in December. I got I passed it, and then in January, I just told my boss,
you can't afford me.
And it's funny too because they did offer me an opportunity.
Yeah, so I want to dive into that because we talked about that in length where once you put in your notice, you were in a position, a lot of people don't realize this, there are certain people in my company that if they came to me right now and be like, Sam, I got to move on, I'm coming back with a counter offer because it's going to cost me a lot. First off, it's going to suck up my time because I'm going to have to kind of fill a role there. And then I'm going to have to train somebody else, and it's going to be a while before I get somebody up to speed. So they actually came back to you and said, well, hey, we want you to train the next person.
Correct.
They ultimately asked you, what's your price?
Correct.
And we discussed that. And what was the initial number you came up with?
The initial number I came up with was 65? I think it was 65.
65 or 75
an
hour?
65 or 75. And that's, during our coaching sessions too, we discussed it. And then their number was 35. And so I said, well, we can't do nothing. If 35 is your pull the plug number, then we pulling the plug.
And there's where the guts come into play and the entrepreneurship comes into play because a lot of people would look at that and be like, man, y'all got a young family, you got 2 kids, your wife's getting another business off the ground, to have stable income coming in for a period, even if that's 35 an hour, and 35 an hour ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's the fact that we talked through the fact that you knew your value and where it stood.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that they were going to come back after you said I'm walking away. I thought they were going to come back with a higher number.
Me
and
too.
They ended up not doing that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you stood on that, to me, showed me everything I need to know about you. I'm like, this is a guy that when he's determined to do something, he makes a decision, he's going to roll with it, and ain't no looking back.
Yeah.
So I was very admired because I'm not sure in y'all's position when I was starting out if I could have walked away from that.
Yeah.
So it says a lot that you guys have faith in each other and what you have going on with that. So you walked away from that. Also, the way you kind of rolled out the introduction to the world that you were now a realtor was pretty interesting. There was a new app that came out on Apple, so talk us through that.
Yeah, so I saw an ad on Instagram about Apple Invites, and it was a new app where you had to update your phone to get it, and you basically use the invite for, in events like birthday parties or, whatever. So I was like, I'm going to use this because they said it's compatible with Apple and Android. I'm going to send this invite out to let people know, hey, I'm inviting you to know that I'm a realtor now.
Yep.
And so I sent it out literally to almost everybody in my phone. And, I got responses. And then that catapulted when I started posting on social media where, I'm getting 100 likes or, 59 comments, just for saying that, hey, I'm a realtor. And it's like those things, it was just amazing to see how when you take a chance, how it's like, man, what? I didn't know I was going to roll a 7.
Yeah, when you put, and I don't know what it is about your industry particularly, but realtors are so hesitant to put out like, hey, I'm a realtor. Like, if you're looking for something, give me a call. I guess they feel that they're just being like overbearing, putting this stuff out on social media too much. But I'm like, people can't do business with you if they don't know what you do for a living.
Yeah.
So it's important to get that out. And I thought that was a very creative idea you had. And for those who aren't familiar with that new app, it's very similar like Eventbrite.
Correct.
But just through Apple's own software and devices. ShaCoria, let's pop back over to you. So the travel business. So from the time I started working with you guys to where you are now, and have we even been working together more than 6 months? What's it been, 5-6 months?
Yeah, I think we're going on.
At that point?
No, like now, up to date.
I think we're going on like 8.
Oh, it's been that
I
long?
feel like it's almost been a year.
Nah,
it hasn't been a year.
No, I said almost.
Yeah, it hasn't been a year.
Almost.
It's going on like 8.
Because I remember we met in the summertime.
Oh, dang, it
hot.
was.
Like, we met in the summer.
Yeah, we're close to the year.
Yeah, we're almost there. Yeah.
Man, time goes by fast.
It does. It
So
really
when you were first telling me about your travel agent's business, I remember like you guys did an expo at a wedding event, and then I think you were a lot more focused on like cruise lines and like you had NFL packages, which I still think those are very good ideas. A big thing that we talked about was finding the riches in the niches.
Correct.
And we really broke down and tried to figure out what is it that'll make you happy? What are you going to enjoy doing? And also what's going to bring in the most money? And then you went out and did it. So talk us through that, like the client base that you're currently working with and what you're doing on that end.
Yeah. So when you start out, you get what you can.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, this client wants to go on a cruise. Great. I'll help you get on a cruise. But I was like, I don't love doing it. Not to say I won't do it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't love doing it. And then I just, I went to the expos, just trying to figure out, okay, who's here? That was a realtor expo that we went to at first. So there's all different types of people that have all different travel needs. And the first client that I got there was a business owner. And she was like, I'm going on a conference. Actually, she had somebody coming here for a conference. And I just asked, I was like, do you have their travel figured out? She's like, oh my gosh. Like, basically, she forgot.
Yeah.
She's like, I did everything else, but I forgot that they needed to fly from Philly. They need somewhere to stay. And they need a ride, as they're in Richmond.
She was like, well, I bought the tickets. So
right. She's like, they're coming to the conference to speak. That's it. So hooked her up with all of that. And it was like, man, it was easy.
First corporate client.
Yeah, first corporate client. I was like, that was easy because they're really laid back, really chill. They know what they need. It's like, I'm going to that place. I have to be in this place. Here's the parameters. Okay, so then she was like, all right, I'm going on a couple conferences too. So I'm like, all right, bet, let's do it. So hooked her up with, her conference travels and stuff like that. And I'm like, I need more of these people because people in business, they travel.
Yes.
They travel for a multitude of reasons, and they are they're going there. So they're not really like hesitant, like, oh, and can we do this, and can we change this part? And so I was on Facebook one day in my virtual assistant community because I'm still there, right? Mm-hmm. Because I like to keep abreast of the things. And so I'm in this community, and somebody reached out and was like, hey, is anybody here a travel agent or know any of any travel agents?
Look at God.
Seriously, because I'm like, I don't even be on Facebook like that. But I was on there and in that group because of the Most High, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm scrolling, and I was like, I literally went back and forth, like, do I respond to this? And I took a chance, and I'm like, hey, I'm sending you a DM. So I sent her a DM, and I was like, hey, I used to be a virtual assistant. Now I'm a travel agent, and I work with corporate clients, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
She's like, oh, this is perfect. Can you meet with our CEO next week? And I was like, he got hyped because she sent an email, and he's like, babe, I'm literally driving. I'm driving from the grocery store or something like that. He's like, you got to respond to this email now. And I was like, it's Friday at like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, they not looking for me right now.
They are. Yes, they were.
I'm like, all right.
He's a man about action. He's like, let's get this done now. He's literally like,
we're going to jump. So I'm like, draft the email. Don't send it because I need to read it.
Yeah.
So he drafts the email. Soon as I get in the house, he hands me my computer. Can you look at this? I'm like, all these grocery bags, the stuff need to be put in the fridge. So I'm like,
girl, don't worry about these Doritos. Let's go.
So I'm literally in the kitchen going through this email, and she's serious. She's like, we have our CEO, and basically it's like a husband and wife team. Mm-hmm. I had no idea who they were. Mm-hmm. She's like, they have, a bunch of travels coming up. They'd love to meet with you. So I'm like, okay, great. So we had a meeting. The meeting went great. They're like, yeah, we'll try you out. And I'm like, all right, let's try each other out because I don't know what I'm doing either. And trying out actually ended up being them going to Australia, China, Japan, and Indonesia, right?
And this is like their full team. This is like 16, 20 people going on these trips, right?
Well, so for this one, it was, they had quite a bit. But like the main people that I planned for, it was like 5 of them. Mm-hmm. So 5 people that's on like their main team. And then they had other people that are in the country or like coming to the countries that do some of the work that they do there. Mm-hmm. And so really like what I was arranging was for the main core team. And it was like, okay, I was supposed to plan their Vegas trip, which is in November. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, we're just going to try you out now. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I just put it together. And it's something I love to do. So it was easy for me. But they were like, thank you so much. Like, you don't know how much, like, you lifted off the stress of our business. And the person who was doing that role, she used to do all the travel planning. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And we worked through lots of kinks. Mm-hmm.
Because those different countries, there are things that you had to become familiar with.
Yeah, correct. So like that's one thing, like when you're a travel agent, like people, when you're traveling, like you don't really think through a lot of things, but like each country has their own criteria for getting in that country. If you don't meet it, you're going to be standing at the airport waiting to get back to the U.S. because they have really strict regulations. Yeah. And so, we worked through all of that, and it ended up being great. So I'm like, I need more of y'all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, just to show the scale of this, like this is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar company that you're working with. And all that came from responding to a post in a Facebook group.
Right.
Like I tell people all the time when it comes to social media is like stepping up to bat in the Major League in Major League Baseball. The more opportunities you step up to bat, like if you step up to bat one time in an entire game, the likelihood that you're going to hit a home run is very small. Mm-hmm. But if you could just step up to bat 10 times, your likelihood of hitting a home run drastically increases. Right. And the piece that I love with you guys is that you guys aren't willing to learn along the way. Like I used to keep there was a painting in my old office that said, it was like the definition of an entrepreneur is jumping out of a plane and building a parachute on the way down.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it is. Like half the time we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But it's just keeping face enough to show people like, hey, even if I don't know the answer, I'm going to figure this out. Yeah. We're going to find this out. So I'm going to get you taken care of. So you went from like, family trips to them canceling at the last minute saying, no, we're not going to take this cruise, to this other company being like, hey, I need you to send us to Tokyo, Australia, Italy, like, let's go, like, here's money, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I think a big lesson in this too, which I think it takes, you guys are learning this lesson way quicker than I did. I think one of the biggest lessons to learn in business is that it is much easier to work with rich people than it is with people on a tight budget. The best clients have always been the ones that have the biggest bankroll.
Right.
I hear the least from them. Everything we send them, oh, this is phenomenal. This is great. Like, perfect. The ones who came in when I was running a discounted rate and they got 15% off are like, hey, could you change this? Could you do this? Like, this wasn't really what I had envisioned in mind, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Rich people pay for their time. Poor people pay for things.
Yeah.
So realizing that you're in a space where when you're giving people in high positions their time back, it's hard for them to put a price on that. Like whatever you're charging them, they're probably actually willing to pay more because of the convenience that you bring to them. I want to jump into something in terms of, we've talked about the partnership that you guys have in terms of your marriage. Justin, I want you to kind of talk about the dynamic between the two of you, because having two young kids, and I'm trying to work on y'all and getting these babies to bed earlier. This would help y'all out so much with your business. I tried, y'all. These babies staying up to like 10 o'clock at night.
Like
They grinding with us.
They do. They be grinding.
Grinding with us. They sending emails.
Little young
They ain't
entrepreneurs.
supposed to see them, but they sending emails.
They do text.
Talk to us about the dynamic with you guys in terms of like, because your schedules are really all over the place. Like, Corey's still working full time, but this business is starting to take off. You're now into real estate, which real estate is when the phone rings, like you pick up. Weekends now, like before that may not have been a thing for you, but now you're having to show homes and properties on the weekends. What's the dynamic, and how have you guys worked through the systems in terms of making sure that you guys have enough time for your family, enough time for each other, and enough time for your business?
I think it started out before we even got married, because we set a foundation of communication.
Say it loud for the people in the back, man.
We set a foundation
he said
of
before
communication.
the marriage, y'all.
Got to do that. Because we were, believe it or not, long distance for
We were long distance literally until we got married.
Yeah, until we got married. We were long distance because she was in Washington State.
No.
Or Washington.
I was in St. Louis.
St. Louis. Oh, Lord. Washington State University. No, Washington University is in St. Louis.
Yeah, I was in St. Louis.
And then North Carolina.
Right.
But and I traveled to go see her when I had the time. But we established that from the beginning, and so we continue doing that. We talk on a regular basis, and sometimes they can be heated. It's okay.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. But we have gotten to a point to where we can literally, like, for example, we just had an issue with schedules. So I'm like, hey, what can we do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And so I send her my schedules. She send me her schedules, or we have a meeting about our schedules. Communication, I think, is the biggest thing for us. And then in terms of just like how we operate, I am daring. You're the dreamer in the relationship. I'm the dreamer. If I see it, I want it. She's the one that brings me down to reality and say, okay, well, how is X, Y, Z going to happen? Because I'm focused on Z. She's looking at X, Y. And I'm like, okay, well, let's come together and form a plan. In being an assistant is her thing because she's very organized. Whereas for me, I'm go with the wind. So we brought those aspects together because she didn't want to become a travel agent, because how am I going to pay for this platform to get access to all these things? And I'm like, well, you just need to do it. And then, her doing it, then she's like, okay, it's working. And I'm like, yeah. And same thing for me. I'm like, okay, well, this client, that client need this, that, and the third. Well, you need to create a schedule. Okay, well, how do I create a schedule? You got to do it like this, structure it like that. So that's really how our dynamic is. I'm very energetic and she's very like laid back. But my chaos is brought together by her organization.
My coordination.
Yeah, her coordination. Yeah.
That's typically how it works out. Like, I'm the dreamer in my marriage, and my wife is the systematic one, like bringing it down. ShaCoria, if you can talk to the other side, like when Justin came home and said, all right, babe, I think I'm ready to quit my job. Talk us through, like, what were the discussions that you guys have? Because obviously when you have young kids, it's not just the two of y'all. Because if it's just the two of you, you can eat Little Caesars pizza and, live in a janked up apartment for a while you're building. But when you got other mouths to feed, like, it's a totally different situation. How did you guys systematically work through that and say, okay, yes, you need to go ahead and do this, and this is how we're going to make this work financially.
Yeah. So I think Justin actually took some time before he was like, all right, I'm really going to jump and do this. Because remember, he told you, like, he was thinking about getting his license, but he wasn't actually, like, pursuing the process, you know, to get his license.
Yep.
So it took him some time. And during that time, I was like, all right, so what are we going to do? How are we going to sustain? Where's the money going to come from? Like, all the questions and all the things, making sure, okay, if my income is here, what is it going to cover? We have these bills to pay. So, like, there was some time. He literally he didn't come home and was like, I'm quitting my job next week. Because I'd have been like, heck no, we're definitely not doing that. That's never even a thought. So him giving that, you know, lead time was like, okay, cool. But then when it became reality, like literally, he got his license and we were just waiting because it takes DPOR, which is like who does the
state licensing.
The state licensing. It takes them a little bit of time to like activate it.
Yeah,
it took a lot of time. So with that, I was like, all right, we're buying time here. So
and then your job would have been notified as soon as that goes live
Correct.
too.
yeah, like so.
Yeah, I couldn't come in the next day.
As soon as he told his job, because I was like, don't tell him today. Like when he got his license was activated, I was like, tell him tomorrow. Like, tell him next week. Like,
let's make sure we got one more full paycheck before you do this.
Like, you don't have to do it today. Like, you can't go out and sell real estate right now. Like, you're not ready. Like, so he told him, and he's like, yeah, so they told me I'm done. Like, this is it. And my heart literally sank because I was like, huh?
No
like,
2-week notice.
No, no notice. Even though, like, if he was to leave, like,
they
he would have had to
wanted,
give him a notice.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, today's your last day. So I'm like, all right, I know we made a plan, but what are we really going to do? And so he had these bright ideas. Like, he's been coming up with these bright ideas for a little bit of time. Like, getting into investment, you know, having investment portfolios and
it's been doing well.
Doing different things, yeah. So I was
But you started the investment side years ago.
Yeah, he started that a little bit ago, which was good because it's like that was a part of the planning. Like, he's like, we're going to be good. So, like, by March or by Q3 of 2025, like, our portfolio should be at this. And I'm sitting here like, well, I need to see it because I don't see it, but I'm going to trust it. And so, yeah, like, yeah, I'm seeing it. But, yeah, so just working through that, really, like, just
Did that force you to be like, okay, now I really got to step up this travel agency thing?
Not really, because I'm like, I'm gonna flow the way I flow, because I'm like, I'm still working a job.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm still, you know, I still got a kid at home and all these things. So I'm like, I'm not about to go crazy with the travel stuff.
Yeah.
I want to do more, and I still want to do more, but I feel like my full time has to kind of get out of the way a little bit for me to operate in the full capacity that I want to.
That's one of the biggest things I've taken away from you guys is that you guys are you may jump out and dream about something and like immediately want to do it, but like when you guys conversate, bring it together, you guys are very pragmatic about the steps in terms of like, well, hey, we're going to do this. And even as big of a dreamer as he is, to have the foresight years ago to be like, okay, because you guys are in real estate too, like it's real estate investing too, right? So you got two rental properties?
Yep, 2 rental proproperties on Airbnb and VRBO.
And how old are you guys?
I'm 32, she's 31.
I was about to say, I'm 30. 31.
But I want people to hear like all these combinations of different things where it's like one person that is W-2 coming in, they have a side business. The other, you know, stepped out on faith and they have the real estate business now. There are rental properties that were put in place years ago. There's a stock portfolio. There's cryptocurrency. Like there are all these things. Like I think you liquidated your 401k when you first made this transition. And it was like, okay, we got the extra breathing room there for those things. So it's like, for you guys to be in the position that you're in right now, before you guys even really knew what you were going to do, there was thought put into this years before. And I want people to understand that because, well, number one, I did not do it that way, anywhere close to that. I'm kind of the person where it's like, you know, I may not know how to box, but if you put some gloves on me and throw me in the ring with Mike Tyson, I'm going to figure out how to swing my way out of it. It's like, we don't figure it out.
Yeah.
But you guys just had such foresight in terms of like, I see where this is going. And I see how patient you guys are with this too. It's not like, hey, we got to do this right now. Even though I hear the urgency in your voice when you're talking about, it's more excitement than like, hey, this has to be done right now. But you guys understanding like, well, hey, we're going to be at this for the next 3 to 5 years before this really gets us into the spot that we want to be.
Yeah.
And understanding too that like, 32 and 30, like, dude, this is still young. Like I remember there was a post that came up the other day on my social media that showed like all the TV dads, like Carl Winslow and like everybody from that. And they were all like early 30s, like when they were on that show. And I'm like, I remember watching that show. I'm like, these dudes look old as I don't know what. And now I'm 40 and I'm like I think I look better than Carl Winslow did. So like once you reach that age, you realize, man, 30 ain't nothing. Like, yo, we just getting started. Because it's like now you finally have a foundation. You have the knowledge like to move forward with this. And you can move a lot more freely with that as you're going through. So absolutely love that. On the real estate side, you actually had a couple deals set up before you even got your license. Talk to us about that and how you were putting stuff together.
Yeah, I had the ministry that we go to, we are currently renting a space, and my pastor, he wants to buy property. And so it's that's why I say it's a commercial deal, because dealing with the county and all these things.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, man, it's a lot, but it's helpful because I originally, when we talk, I say I want to get into commercial because I think it's cool. I want to build my own apartment complex one day, and I'm going to do it. But with that being said, as soon as I got my license, it seemed like my pastor was always saying, we're gonna buy property. We're gonna buy property, and then they're like,
one day,
how? We're not even talking to a realtor or anything like that. Like, what's going on? And so as soon as I got my license, it just like clicked, and now we are preparing to close on that deal next week.
Nice.
And I found that out today. So
nice.
Hopefully everything goes through. If not next week, then definitely in May.
On that note too, as Black church folk, we got to just stop relying and thinking God gonna take care of everything, and we ain't got to take care of the detail. Like He gonna provide. Like when we're ready to buy this property, no, Pastor, we need to go do X, Y, and Z in order to make sure we have this in place.
But what, he was really waiting on him.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, he was taking his time to get his license a little bit, right? But Pastor was really waiting on somebody who was within to do the deal.
Yeah, because the word was given to his wife that everything that the ministry needs is in the house, and literally like everything. We have so many different entrepreneurs, so many different skill sets that if we literally brought all that together, who knows where we would be? Just within a year. So I had that deal, and then there was I got a couple clients out of just being in the ministry, but then my cousin randomly just hit me up. I don't talk to him often or anything like that. He's a vegan. He's been a vegan so long that they call him Earth. Like literally, that's his nickname is Earth. And so he just called me one day. He's like, yeah, cuz I see you in real estate. I'm looking for this, that, and the third multifamily investment property. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. And literally, like, just hit the ground running. And they're about to close on their property. It's supposed to be in June, but they want to close in early May. So we're trying to work on the specifics of that now. But literally, I did everything that I'm supposed to do. Giving them the information, the facts. Him and his lady, and they're just like literally ready to take the world by storm. They already are successful in other entrepreneurial things, so I have no doubt. And then I they asked me, they were like, you know anybody that do contractor work? And I was like, yeah. Hooked them up with a contractor, so they literally have everything laid out. And so I'm just thankful to the Lord, for these opportunities, because I knew that I could perform when I work for somebody else, but can I perform for my family?
Yep.
Can I perform for myself? And to be able to see that, all the things that I've learned, I'm grateful for every position I've ever had. W-2 jobs, I'm grateful for all of them, because all of those things taught me what I need to know to be where I am now.
Absolutely. Love that. On the church piece that you said, like, I feel like as people of faith, we need to get back to that in our churches, where back in the day, if it was like, if your roof caved in, it was a deacon who did roofing.
Yeah, that's true.
It was like you always went within your congregation to find those services. And I feel like we've gotten so far away from that. But like, if you look inside a congregation, there's basically, you got lawyers, you got doctors, you
everything
got
in there, yeah.
entrepreneurs, everything there. Man, this is awesome. Talking through, so I want to touch on what you just said there in terms of, you know, I was able to perform for other people when I was working for a company, now being able to perform for myself and my family. I want both of you to touch on that and describe to me what it was like the moment that you realized that you could do this, where it was like, I'll never forget, the first check that was ever written to me for my business was $400. I thought I was the richest man on earth. And it was just the fact that I saw my LLC name on that check, and I made sure they did the check. I was like, I need to hold this thing. Like, no credit card, no debit card. I need this in my hand. And it was that moment it hit me. It was like, wait, hold up. I didn't have to do this with another organization. I didn't have to talk to a supervisor. I didn't have to do any of this. I made this deal happen, and this check is going directly into my account.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for each one of you when you made that deal and it was like, hold up now, I think I can do this?
You want to start?
Well, you know, my answer is always going to be crazy because I don't think I really take a step back long enough to really process, you know? So let me think, because for me, like my dad will always tell me when I was young, the goal is to have your own. The goal is to have your own. So like he always pushed school, like school was a thing always too, like when you go to college, but also like when you have your own business. When you so for me, it's like this is just something that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like I was an entrepreneur in middle school. Like I used to sell gum and all that stuff. So it was like, it was like, you know,
that was the real hustle.
You know, you're making money back then. Like legit, people don't ask me for gum. Like you gotta slide the coins over here.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like I know.
Don't look me in the eyes.
And I got you. So yeah, it was just like, you know, the first time that I got a check. Or the first time that somebody like bet on me because I bet on myself, I was just, I don't know. I was kind of like.
You're expecting it.
Yeah, I was expecting it.
It's the way it's supposed to be.
It was, yeah, it's like, it's supposed to be this way, but also like imposter syndrome. Like, is this me? Because like we just had a conversation. And again, as an entrepreneur, you figuring stuff out. Like, I'm going to be real. You figuring things out as you go. So it's like, all right, I did the services. You're satisfied with the services. But at the same time, it's like, but dang, is it me? Like, what just happened here? Like, you, and then it's like, yeah, you paying. Like, it's a transaction and it's good. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really take a step back long enough to really like ponder and admire, like, okay, this is what's happening.
So this is why y'all need to get them kids to bed earlier so you can have these moments to ponder on this stuff.
Until I'm on vacation and I'm like, oh yeah, we did this.
Look at this room.
That's the time where I'm like, okay, we did that.
I will tell you, because I am the same way. Like, and it's the circle of people that I keep around me. Like, literally one of my best friends. You guys met Javon.
Yeah.
Javon has to sit me down sometimes and be like, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, you've done something, man. Like, chill out for a second and like take this in. Yeah. Because I think that's how entrepreneurs can be wired sometimes, where it's just like go. Because like I could literally close the biggest deal that I've ever done today. I'm gonna jump up for about 5 minutes, and the next thing in my head is gonna be like, all right, what's next? Right? Give me something else. Yeah. It's like, we gotta go. If I can do this, then that means I can do more. Right. Let's go. But just to sit back and take, and I'm not saying a long time, because I do the same thing on the opposite side, where if something bad happens, I give myself 5 minutes to cry about it, dwell on it, and then, okay, now let's just start working on the solution. Yeah. But you have to find those moments, whether it's, I think I told you need to start walking around your block and just like taking those moments where it's like, you can just think on these things and like, what was I doing a year ago? And think about the state of mind that you were in, and were you happy? Yeah. And were you in a spot that you wanted to be in? Like, knowing now that you're in a spot where you feel you're being called to and you're doing the thing you're supposed to do, that puts things in perspective, so that when the hard times do come, it's not if the hard times are coming, it's when the hard times are coming. Yeah. You have that base and that foundation to know, well, hey, I've accomplished way more than this. Like, this ain't going to be the thing that takes me down. Right. We can definitely get through this. Yeah. What was that moment like for you, Justin?
I think I'm always someone that has to have my back up against the wall to like really perform. And so for me, You know, what it was is when I bought a car to go see her, because she was living in North Carolina. I didn't have a car. I didn't have my own car, using my grandmother's and my grandfather's car. And so I was like, man, I'm gonna just go buy me a car. So I was at the point where I couldn't.
It seems like she's just learning about this for the first time.
No, she know. I bought a Toyota Corolla, and you know I couldn't even afford the car in terms of like the way my credit was and the car note that they gave me. So I was like, all right, so how?
This one of those drive time special $600.
No, I went to Toyota, but that's another story.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on another time.
Yeah, I know how to talk to a dealer now. But you know, my credit was shot, so I ended up getting the car. But my interest rate was like what, 17%,
It was 17%,
something like that. And I'm just like, I need a car.
Like, I got a car, and I'm like, you did what?
Yeah, not even thinking of it, but. I use that to propel me into entrepreneurship in this way, because you know my mom she was an entrepreneur, but I didn't really understand what she was doing, you know, being a hairstylist. And so I decided to put my car on Turo, and this is before everybody started talking about Turo.
This man right here.
Literally.
It was 2018?
Yeah, it was 2018. Nobody was talking about Turo, especially in Richmond. And so I put my car, I got my friend Sean that took pictures.
Yeah,
I got him to take professional pictures of the car at the airport.
On the top deck?
Yeah, and so I would literally drop my car off at the top deck in the airport.
And he was working at the airport.
And I was working at the airport at the time. So I was like, I'm going to just use this. So if I had to sleep at the airport that day, you know, just to take on the extra shift, just to get my car back in the morning, I would do that. Like
genius.
Like literally, I made sure that my car was where I was going to be. So if I'm in between flights or whatever, I'm making sure that everything is top notch. And my people that booked the car loved it. I'm talking about they were coming back. Yeah, it was 5 stars every single time.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, oh, snap, I can do this. And literally, I was not paying the car note.
Yeah.
It was some months where I was making extra.
A lot of months.
A lot of months.
Yeah, it was like double.
Yeah.
Double the car note.
So she was like, yeah, I ain't worried about the 17% interest down.
Yeah, we had to get past that part.
But that's when I was like, okay, I can do, you know, I can do something. Because other people were trying to figure out, you know, what you mean you got your car on, you rent your car out.
They were like, why would you let somebody drive?
Yeah, why would you let somebody? I'm like, I don't care about this car that much. Like, this ain't my dream car. This is an A to B. Yeah. As long as this, I made sure that, you know, somebody wrecked it, anything that I was covered. And that was my biggest thing, making sure that if anything happens, I'm covered. Because at the end of the day, I got to pay for this.
Yeah.
And so when all those things checked out, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna jump out and do this because I'm here at the airport. I might as well make money off the airport.
Bruh, this is, man, you ain't never told me that story.
Yeah.
That is genius. Like,
it was.
The hustle, the grind, the mentality of ain't nothing going to stop. Like, I tell people all the time, man, like, I understand people are in different circumstances and different situations in this country, but, like, it is too easy to make money in this country.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah. Like, Gary Vee always talked about this for years. He would go to yard sales, find Beanie Babies that somebody had, they didn't know what it was, and they're selling them for like 25 cents, and he's going on eBay selling for $30 a pop.
Right.
Like, flip something. Yeah. Or like the app, that was probably about the same time Rover came out, where you could like dog walk. So it's like, you ain't got no transportation, but you got a roof over your head. Let all these people bring dogs. I met one lady, we used that app one time, and there was one lady, we booked with her, and I talked to her, and she had a couple other dogs running around. But basically, like, she was making $40 a night per dog.
Wow.
And she had this big yard and, like, all this other stuff. She was like, yeah, I'll take up to, like, 10 dogs at a time and do X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, caking it up, like, every night. All you got to do is feed the things, make sure they don't kill each other, and, like, you get to go. The owners come back in 2-3 days, pick them up.
They're still barking.
Yeah. But there are so many different ways that people can make money. It's not, W-2 isn't the only option.
Correct.
And everybody needs to go full-blown entrepreneur, but I do believe everybody needs to have a side hustle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, something else where, like, because if I could do it all over, I would have had my W-2 and my side hustle would have just been going into my investment account, like stacking it up, like high interest yielding savings account, and living off of my W-2, but like investing and growing the rest. Man, y'all get me pumped talking about this. Y'all sharing some stuff now with me that I didn't know before. let me ask you guys this. In terms of, I'll be real with you. I haven't said this to y'all. When you told me you were quitting, and you were starting your own hustle, and I know you were going a little bit harder on the travel agency thing, one of my first thoughts was, all right, well, I'm just waiting for them to call me and let them know that they're done with, coaching and mentoring. Because I'm like, they're cutting costs, and this is probably going to be one of the first things they cut. And I'm not going to be offended or anything. Like, I totally get it. And still, I haven't gotten that call. So the question I want to ask you guys there is, despite all these changes and despite things with your financials, why have you guys continued to decide to invest in yourselves?
That's a good question. And I'm going to start because we had the conversation.
I brought it up.
ShaCoria definitely
in my
brought
head,
it up.
I was like, ShaCoria is the one who brought this up.
She said, look, this coaching costs money. And so, we had the discussion, and it was literally, I think she couldn't make it to one of our sessions, and it was just you and I.
Yep.
And then she came the next session, and I think it was mainly you two. And so because of that second session, she was like, we can't.
It was just so much value.
Yeah, it was like,
I mean, it's always value.
And then we learned that there are a lot of people who will try to get it the free way.
Yeah.
And you can, as much as you can get, but if you really want to take it to the next level, you gotta put some money into it. And so if you choose not to invest in yourself, then you are losing. Because you're your biggest asset.
Right.
Your time on this earth is your biggest asset. So if you choose to waste it, that's on you. And so, I'll let ShaCoria.
I can't wait to hear her answer. Let me get comfortable for this.
Yeah, so we love working with you, right?
Yeah, facts.
We gave Samuel such a hard time. Well, I gave Samuel such a hard time before the relationship even began. He was probably like, I don't know about this girl. But it's just been questions. So much value. Yeah, because that's just me.
Yeah.
But it's been so much value every time. And even like going back to the last question that you asked about like when you realize what you did, like you're a coach, but like you always hype us up, like you always pump us up. Not because you have to, but like you give us our props.
Y'all are doing it.
And that's the thing. If we wasn't, like we would know.
Yep.
But like you do, like you literally take me back for a second and like, all right, you've done this, that's great. Because for me, I'm like, let's just keep going. Yeah. And so, like, when it's funny because the money come out every 15th of the month. So
she knows.
One time Justin was like, what is this? And I was like, I don't know. What have you subscribed to? And we figured out what it was. This is in the beginning.
Yeah.
So like, as he decided to quit his job and stuff, and I'm like, all right, what can we cut? Like, what do we need? What don't we need? And I'm going through the list. And I was like, man, that coaching and mentorship is great. But, what we could do with that extra money? Like, just saving it. Because that's what I do. I would save it. I wouldn't spend it. And so he's like, okay, all right, well, we'll just let Samuel know the next time we talk, we'll have a conversation. So y'all talked, because I was doing something else. The most I set up this way. Y'all talked, and I was like, did you tell him? It's like,
he didn't even come close.
No. I was
sense.
like, what y'all talk about? He was like, da-da-da-da.
You know where it got me? We started talking about crypto.
Y'all started talking about crypto. Because I was like, what is happening? Like, you were supposed to be setting up a time for us to talk. So he's like, all right, yeah, I set up a time for you and him to talk. I said, me, by myself? Like, we're not going to both have this conversation? So when we got on the call, Samuel's like, all right, so what you got going on in travel? And I'm like, what? I thought that this was going to be like our...
This is hilarious because when I got on this call, like, I got no sense from you guys of this conversation that happened. It was just a regular session.
It was a regular session. And
regular
I'm like,
session,
y'all just talked the other day. We didn't pay double. So, like, are we doing this? So we had a conversation and Samuel was like, all right, this is what you got to do. Like, this is your value. This is your worth. And just, like, coaching me through all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Man, we got off that call and I was like, this ain't a cut that we about to do. Because... like, you bet on us, and it's like, we bet on ourselves, but, like, you bet on us, too. Mm-hmm. And that conversation was just like, no. And when we first, jumped out into entrepreneurship, like we listened to EYL, we listened to, all the heavy hitters, like in that industry, in that space. And everyone always said, get yourself a mentor, get yourself a coach. Like we follow real estate people. They're like, you need someone to walk you through this because there's so much that you're going to do that I've already done.
Yep.
And instead of you going through every little nitty gritty part, I can get you all the way over the hump just by this relationship. So like all of those things came back to me, and I'm like, why cut corners? Why de-invest in myself and in our business and literally be sitting there twiddling our thumbs because we're trying to figure it out.
To add, our business has grown since we started. Like, it's not like we don't have the receipts that, and, my wife and I, we're really different ends of the spectrum, but even though I'm innovative, when I talk to you, I'm like, dang.
Sammy be thinking, all the ideas.
I ain't even think about that. And so that helps me because it's like, okay, if I'm drawing value from somebody that's doing something that I already do, then that's even better. And then knowing where you started and where you are now and how you continue to grow, it's like, I reached out to you anyway. I reached out to you first from just seeing a.
You heard me on a.
It was
a podcast.
Yeah, it was a podcast.
Full circle moment.
Yeah.
So you guys found out about me from a podcast. I don't even remember who was the person.
BJ, that's I know BJ. From my past. We connected ministry wise.
Yeah. So you saw the interview I did with BJ. You not only because I remember when you reached out to me. Not only did you watch that episode, you went through and listened to a bunch of other episodes. And I think you were on like the 5th episode. You're like, I got to reach out to this brother. Like, I got to talk to him. So, full circle moment, you guys are now on the podcast. Yeah. Like, bro, that's crazy. Yeah. So, number one, appreciate everything y'all just said. Number two, I don't ever want y'all to feel like, number one, you're hurting my feelings, or if the time comes, because there's going to come a time where the little birdie's going to fly away and you're not going to need me. Like, you're going to need the next coach.
Yeah.
I always tell people I'm your 6-figure entrepreneur. I'm the one that'll help you get from zero in revenue to that first 6 figures. Because I had mentors that were making 6 figures, and then once I started making 6 figures, well, this brother can't teach me nothing else because hopefully by the time y'all get 6 figures, I'm already at 7 figures and 8 and everything moving forward. Right. But like after the coach I had, he was still at 6 figures. I'm like, all right, well, I've gotten what I need out of this relationship. It's time to move on to the next thing. But yeah, like what you guys have said, I mean, there is very little credit I can take for what you guys have done because I will say this, out of everybody I've coached, and I started doing this coaching thing probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And number one, I don't want a bunch of people blowing me up on this podcast. I only work with like 5 clients a year or something like that. I don't work with a ton of people on this side.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, we locked in.
Looking at that, like you guys, I've never had a couple or individual that I've worked with that like literally just took everything I said and said, okay, we're going to do this. And if it doesn't work out, he's one that told us. And I know ShaCoria would tell me, like, Sam, you told me to do this, and it blew up in my face. Luckily, that hadn't happened yet. But you guys have done everything. And it's literally like there's so many people along the way that I've talked to and I've gotten tidbits from, and, like, they've told me something. They're at levels I want to be. And I was like, yeah, well, that worked for them. I don't know if that's going to work for me. And then years later, I end up coming back to it, and it's like, man, if I had just listened the first time, this would have got me past so much. So I applaud you guys more than anything because y'all just take advice and y'all run with it. Like, I feel like the second I get off a call with y'all,
we be on.
You immediately, like, the second that laptop closes, like, all right, well, let's jump on this, let's do this. Like, y'all don't take breaks. You're just ready to go. Last thing I want to touch on before we wrap up, the marketing component for what you guys do. So that was a big thing that we talked about in our early sessions was like, hey, we got to get the word out. Like, people aren't going to book you if they don't know, and then going through the content and things like that. And obviously, you guys aren't videographers and editors and social media managers and all that stuff. But the content you guys have put together, you've found success with that. Like, I remember when we first started working, I was looking at some of the videos that were pinned at the top of your page. There are some that had hundreds of thousands of views. Like, we're talking 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 views on some stuff. And Your face ain't in it. It was super simple stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, hold up. You said you ain't know how to market. Like, how you get, because I can get one video going viral for a minute. All right, okay, cool. That was a fluke. But multiple ones? Like, no, that means you have a formula and a system with this. Yeah. And I know still to this day, that's a painstake for you guys. It's not something that you enjoy doing, but you recognize that this is a part of your business that you have to do. And as ShaCoria shaking her head, like, she's probably like, man, I hope Sam didn't look at my Instagram page before we came in here today.
Next session.
Next session. I know you're not doing it as often, and that's not something you should feel guilty about, because like I'm in a phase right now. If you've been looking at my social media, I've been going ham the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you have.
And because I know those phases that I get into, like when I stay on that track, results always come in. But at the same time, I have a team now in place. I have the right team in place. So I had to let a bunch of people go from this organization. I basically started from scratch this year, minus one person. But I have a team that can support me now. Where like I could go to this summit all day and I'm getting text messages like, hey, don't worry about this, took care of that. Boom, boom, this is done. Cool. Enjoy yourself. Right. Stay focused.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Got to get there.
It took a long time to get the right people on the bus. But there are going to be times when your business is going to require more attention and you're not going to have the time to do those things that you know you need to do. So don't feel guilty about that, but kind of talk through, like, number one, describe the videos that went viral for you guys on your Instagram page. I need people to understand how simplistic these were.
Yeah, it was super simple. Like, okay, what is it? We came up with some travel ideas.
Yeah, it was like, these are the best places to go.
With no passport.
Yeah, stuff like that. It was, another one was in reference to, not like we just booked. It was literally just like giving people information. Yeah,
they were super simple.
But like 5 seconds, 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, so what we did, because, Samuel coached us through all the marketing stuff, because, and it was like, follow the trends. Okay, so like, what is that trend? I mean, Instagram changes so frequently.
Yes,
and,
like, yeah.
You do a great job at like keeping us abreast on that. But it was like, follow the trends. Okay, what's the trend in audio? So we did that. Okay, at the time it was trending audio. And then it was those short clips, because it was like, you got to catch people's attention, but also make them loop. Like, so fast that people couldn't see what it was.
That it went back to the...
Yeah, so that's what we did. And I mean, when I say like, we just kept seeing the numbers grow, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is happening, is happening. And when you're putting it together, I take a lot of pride in the work. So like, I feel like it took me a little bit of time, but like I kind of had the design eye for it. So it took a little bit of time to put it together. But then when you see, okay, hundreds of thousands of people have seen this, that's exposure for the business. But I can't remember exactly which ones they were.
So two things on that. One, I want to highlight the fact, because I talked to a lot of people and they're like, I don't want to be on camera, I'm not comfortable, blah, blah, blah. You guys did that. Now, I did push you guys to do some stuff with you guys in it, and I think that content did very well. But you can have faceless pages that are going to generate revenue for you. So that's one. Number two, just learning you, ShaCoria, over our time together, you overanalyze.
I do.
So you'll put something together and be like, but it ain't this, that, blah, blah. Who cares? Get it out there.
Yeah.
Like, while I was so I'll give you a strategy that I've been doing this week. So I'll give a shout out to the Big Dipper Summit that I've been attending this week here in Richmond. As I walked in there and I saw the level of speakers and I saw how this was set up, literally the first day I walked in, the ladies at the front desk, they were like, hey, good morning. Like, are you an attendant or are you a speaker? And immediately my mind goes into joke mode. And I'm like, well, I should be a speaker, but y'all couldn't pay my bill this year, so I'm just attending the event. They start cracking up, and I'm like, make sure you book me now, because next year the price is going to go up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, you know what? I need to be on this stage next year. So I was like, I'm going to make sure I get their attention this year. I've been tagging them nonstop and making Instagram stories. I made a quick video. I was filming some stuff on my Meta glasses, filming some stuff on my cell phone. I invited them as a collaborator today. A bunch of people have started following my page. Nice. Like, I've booked meetings with people from that, this, that, and the other. And it's just like, I just want to grab attention.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to know who Sam Anderson is by the end of this conference. And I'm meeting the people who are putting this on, like, for lunch. Like, I knew one lady, she kept walking around with like the vest, so I knew she was involved with the organization at some point. And me and my buddy were getting lunch today, and she was sitting at one of the tables, and there were a couple extra seats. I was like, mind if we join you?
Right.
We're sitting down chatting with her, asking her story. I wasn't pitching anything. I'm just like, tell me who you are. How did you become affiliated with this?
Yeah.
And people just don't realize how much content is just sitting in front of you. And a big thing that you just said about the content that you guys had that went viral, you were adding value to people. You weren't selling something. You weren't telling people, hey, book your cruise with us today or do X, Y, and Z. It was like, hey, here's information you need to know. If you got Wanderlust, here's a page where you're going to get this information that's gonna feed your soul when it comes to these things.
Sure.
And you use stock footage. It wasn't like you guys had to personally go out and shoot this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
If you didn't overanalyze, it would probably take you 10 minutes to put it together.
Probably. Yeah.
But even with ChatGPT throwing some stuff in there and like, hey, give me some suggestions where travel agency business, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
But still, I admire when people can overanalyze things because sometimes I'm like, my wife will text me a lot. And she's like, you misspelled this in your post. Like, go back and fix it. I don't nobody care about that. Like, she's like, no.
Wait, shout out to your wife.
Yeah, she's like, no, you need to fix this.
Right.
Like, it's not a good look. My thought process is just get it out. Like, get it out. Like, something good is going to come from this.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
We walk around with our phones now, like just recording. We got lots of content.
Just gotta put it together.
Lots of content.
Yeah, but
I'll give you one that I've seen these guys doing. I've only seen like maybe 3 creators do it, which would be a good one for your page. Guys like, looks like he's like at some lake house or lodge and it's like winter, so he could be like in Colorado or something like that. And this music's playing, he's just spinning around with the snow falling in the background. And the caption on the screen says, 3 places to travel if you don't have any income. And then as he's spinning around, the screen fades and then pull up the Indeed logo, like Job Hunter, like all these different. Quick 6-second video. And like the first time I saw that, I was rolling. And I heard something at the conference today. They were saying, and the one lady I was telling you about that I bought her book today, and like she was super analytical about this stuff. She talked about how there are no great businesses built on an original idea.
Yeah.
It's taking a piece from something. So like she used Netflix as an example. So it's like you take the painstake. They took something from Blockbuster. They took something from Amazon in terms of like delivering directly to your house. Because people forget, Netflix, we used to just get DVDs sent directly to our house and it wasn't just streaming. They utilized the United States Postal Service. Like, wasn't a great, like, insane idea. Oh, and then they took the basic gym membership concept where it's like, yeah, you pay your $7.99 per month and this is where your margins come in. So they took 3 different businesses. Only one was related to what they actually did. They looked at 3 different businesses and said, how can we pull the best out of their model? And that's ultimately how Netflix came together. And it's looking at things like that where like you're looking adjacent to businesses when it comes to marketing ideas. You're looking adjacent to things that have absolutely nothing to do with what you guys do for a living.
Right.
But you can take ideas from that and say, oh, this video was popping. How can I relate that to real estate? Or like they said this and that. How can I relate this to a travel business? So like I feel like we as entrepreneurs, we're always trying to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to do that. Like that's for our model with Enzo Media Firm, like the reason 85% of the companies that we work with, the clients we serve, work with us on a monthly basis is because I was looking at how broken the freelance system was. If I start this thing and I get a big job in January and I have no guarantee that I'm gonna get another check, it could be in April, May before I see something else. Right. What is something that I can do? Well, you know what? Like gyms, like most of the people that have a gym membership, I gotta look this stat up. I dare say probably 60 to 70% of people who pay for a monthly gym membership are not there more than once a week, if that. Yeah. A lot of them, because the price is so low, and that was my concept was, I wanted to start with the price point that was so low for business owners where they're like, I ain't really using this, but like, it ain't real. Like, that's the reason people don't quit the gym is because like, you go to quit your gym membership, it's like, well, I may want to go next week, like, and it's only like $10. Like, what's the big deal? Yeah. So looking at things like that where you can, that's the next thing I want to challenge you guys before our next session is be aware of some of these other adjacent businesses where you see something was like super successful. So like recently I had the guys from Cocky Rooster on the show, which if you guys haven't eaten a Cocky Rooster.
We saw your post about,
Yeah, we love Cocky Rooster.
Yeah.
They're cauliflower wings though.
Dope, dude. I told my couple white brothers that started a business, I was like, dude, I was looking in the kitchen when I was there. I know y'all got a brother back there somewhere because ain't no way a black dude ain't had something to do with this chicken. But one thing I was talking to them about that blew my mind, and I haven't released this episode yet, so this will be out after that one airs. They have a 3.5 day work week for their employees. So they have 2 separate staffs, like manager, employee, like all the way down. Mm-hmm. One staff comes in, Sunday through Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday, whatever, and the other staff comes in from that Wednesday or Thursday afternoon to the next Sunday. Mm-hmm. So they literally work 12-hour shifts, work 3.5 days, and then they got the rest of the week off. Mm. And he said their employees couldn't be more happy. Yeah. Everybody's just so adjusted. Yeah. And it's like, if you have other things that you want to do, like that's the difficult thing about working full time and having the side hustles because you don't have that time. Yeah. I know a lot of guys in the firefighting business. That's one of the big things they love about being a firefighter because like, man, I'm going to work 3 days this week, but I'm going to be off for like the next week. Right. So like I can go power wash a house, I can go do this, I can do that, and I'm trying to figure out, man, how in the world can I incorporate something like that in my business? It may not be this business, it may be another one because. An editor is not going to want to sit down for 12 hours straight. But I'm like, how can I figure out a system like that? Because I do feel like this 40-hour work week thing. Oh, yeah. You guys know traveling. It's been a while since I've been overseas. But, like, Europe is on a different time system. Yeah. Like, Sundays, everything shuts down. It ain't just Chick-fil-A. Right. Everything shuts down. It's like we're all going to spend time with our families. We're not going to do X, Y, and Z. And people are just moving at a slower pace versus here in the States. We're all go. So, challenge you guys. Look at some adjacent businesses and figure out what is something that they're doing and how can that be incorporated into what we do. Final thought with you guys. I want you guys to give a bit of advice and let the people listening know that let's say someone who's just about to start their entrepreneurial journey or they've been started for a while and they're not seeing the results. What's one main tip that you would give them in order to move the needle forward?
I'll start. I would say don't like what was said in the beginning of the podcast or the episode. Don't be afraid to start something and then it doesn't become what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. Because, we done went through many different business names and now ideas. And now, we got 3 main ones that stick. We got GJS Solutions, which is our property management company for short-term rentals. We got Juco Ventures Travel, which is her travel business. And then, me, I'm Justin Shelton. I'm the realtor, Proximity Realty. Yeah. And so with that being said, it's like, man, you have to be okay with figuring it out. Yes. Because what I learned a long time ago, just being, in front of people, whether it's on stage or whatever, or playing a game, like a basketball game or whatever, people don't know what you practice. Yeah. So if you performing in front of people, they don't know if you're messing up unless you show that you're messing up. Mm-hmm. And so being able to keep face and say, you know what, I'm going to keep going. People are going to be applauding you for what you're doing. My grandma asks me all the time, what y'all doing now? Like, what y'all doing now? And to us, it's normal now. Like, you eat, sleep, and breathe this. So it's like, don't be afraid to fall on your face. Yes. Just get back up.
Love it. Spoken like a seasoned entrepreneur, man. I love it.
Right. Thank you for giving me some time. Because I like to think through
That's how we work.
Yes. No, I think, so like the biggest thing for me that I've learned and thinking about people in entrepreneurship is where your support comes from. Because we all want support from within. Like, oh my gosh, you're my family, you're my friends.
They ain't gonna support you.
And that's not where it's gonna come from.
They're the worst clients and customers.
And so you have to be okay with that. It's not that they think your idea is dumb. It's not that they don't want to support you. It's just that they're not aligned. Mm-hmm. They're not always aligned. And so you have to be okay with that. And you have to step out, contact that person that it's like, man, they've been doing this. Okay, contact that person. Do a collaboration with them. Contact that person who said they're looking for this thing. Those are your clients. They're gonna shout your name greater and further than some of the people that you've known forever. So that is like the biggest thing. When you're stepping out there, know that your aligned client might not look like what you've always seen.
Yep. Yeah. I do want to add one thing too. Don't like what I'm told now by my mentor in real estate is don't be a secret agent. So it's like whatever you do, don't keep it a secret.
Put it out there.
Just share it with somebody, even if it's at the grocery store. You know, everyone always say, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, just say, "Hey, can I talk to you real quick? Let me just, tell you what I do, or can I ask you a quick question?" You know, just something. Yeah. If you the more people you let know what you do, the more people are going to reach out to you.
Absolutely.
That's just statistics.
Absolutely. Man, again, I'm always enamored by the fact that you guys are learning these lessons so much quicker than most entrepreneurs do. Like, I couldn't be more proud of you guys. Like, I love the progression that I've seen with you guys. And it's been awesome to see. And we're going to replay this episode years down the road and be like, remember when we talked about that? Like, just quitting the job and we didn't know this? And the little amount of money we were paying for coaching. Like, can you believe we thought about canceling that?
Right. That's literally going to be me in a couple of years. Like, man, what was I thinking? I mean, I know what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah. No, I love it. But, like, knowing, because I can see exactly where you guys are going. Like, I mean, the future is bright. Like, the work ethic you guys have and the mentality and, what you're willing to do to get to where you're, and the example that you guys are already setting for your young family. Like, I love it. I love it. So we're going to end it right there. Thank you guys for coming on. This has been an awesome episode. I think people are going to get a lot out of this, and we will see you guys on the next episode.